Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Firstly, my name is Muhammad Haris Hafiz bin Ismail. Today, I and our group will be to discussion on culture issue faced with traveling. Hi everyone. So we have been traveling quite a bit lately, but locally and abroad. I think we all face some culture difference. Let's talk about them. It starts with language. I have found it pretty challenging in some places. In Japan, for example, it was hard to communicate in English outside of certain spots. What do you think about this, Isaac?
Oh, of course, I had a similar experience in a rural Spain when I spoke very little Spanish and was constantly unable to understand the people. Even though they was a very friendly and welcoming, it was harder than I thought to communicate because of the strong accent and frequency used to religions, idiom, and expression that I did not understand. I feel like a completely different world because how much the local colloquium and dialects influence the language at times, especially when I was to follow the convocation. It could be too much to handle. How is how is it for you, Farah? When you traveled, did you run into anything comparable?
For me, my experience traveling in Thailand, I had to really heavily on a translation app, but it wasn't always accurate. Plus, the way Thai words are spoken can completely change their meaning, which was really confusing for me as a beginner. You have to be very mindful of that.
Yes, actually, language can definitely be a barrier, but I think food is another issue. If noticed, it some place food customs are so different from what we used to do. I remember being in India and finding the amount of spice in their dishes of everything. It was a real adjustment for my stomach.
Oh, that makes sense to me. When I visited Morocco, I found that half the dishes were completely unfamiliar to me. And at first, I was not sure if I would enjoy some of the flavor because they were so different from what I used to. The communication of spices and unique ingredient was unlike anything I had ever tasted, and I was a bit hesitant that at first to drive to some of the more exotic offering. However, after a little while, I become more adventurous with my choice and eventually adapted. Discovering and some of the food was incredibly delicious and full of rich, com- complex flavor. It was a reminder that sometimes I needed to be a little bolder and more daring when I come to try new things, especially when I come to food in a different culture.
Yeah, it's fascinating how closely food is linked to a culture. In Vietnam, uh, I was surprised by how many dishes include seafood, and I'm allergic to it. I had to be very cautious, and it was sometimes difficult to find other options there.
That must have been taught. I think for sure can be a challenge, especially if you have a dietary restrictions or if you're not used to local flavor. Moving on, religion can also affect travel in a bit while. I remember visiting a mosque in Turkey. I had to cover my head and remove my shoes. It was a bit uncomfortable for me because I was used to that.
Oh yeah, I had a similar experience in Egypt when I was not fully aware of how important respect and adherence I adherent to the proper dress code are when visiting religious sites. I end up having to change my clothes on the spot in order to be allowed entry into a temple. And I feel a bit embarrassed and out of place, especially since I have not an- anticipated that level of formality. It really made me realize how critical it is to properly prepare in advance for such culture and religious expectation before traveling to ensure that you show the appropriate respect and avoid any uncomfortable situation.
You are right. When in Indonesia, a Muslim majority country, people observe specific prayer time throughout the day. The whole city seems to slow down during this time, and many businesses close. This was a stark contrast to what I'm used to back home, where things always seem to be moving.
That's important obsession. Religion practice can definitely affect daily life and how you plan your days. I think respecting those customs is key to being a good traveler.
So, after talking about language, food, and religion, what do you think is the most challenging culture issue when traveling?
I think the biggest challenge is definitely the language barrier. If you can communicate effectively, everything becomes much more difficult from ordering food and asking for direction to simply interacting with people. We, you really miss out on experiencing the local culture if you don't understand the language. How about you, Aris?
I agree. It's like foundation for everything as if you can speak English, everything is feel more challenging, even food or religion. Once you overcome that very the same seem a bit easier. What about think, Isaac?
I believe that the three elements of language, truth, and religion traditional work together to make travel easy and pleasurable. But if I had to choose that one of the particularly important, language would be it. It's much simple to get around other effect of the culture once you understand the language, even if it's just a few essential words or phrase. Everything else, like trying new food, honoring and legend tradition, or even just knowing the local etiquette, it's made much easier when you can use language to express your needs, ask questions, and connect with local. Respect the flexibility are undoubtedly helpful, but language serves as the constant that enable you know to overcome this barrier and generally interact with the culture in a meaningful way.
Exactly. So, I guess the takeaway is to always be prepared, learn a few key phrases, research the local food, and respect religious practice. The way we can navigate cultural difference more smoothly.
Totally, it's all about being open-minded and respectful to different culture you encounter. This is great discussion, everyone. That's all from us. Thank you, everyone. See you later. Bye bye. See you again.
Thank you, Haris and Aizat.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.